So this is the third in our series on building community, because community matters, but many times we don't understand deeply why it matters. And also, it takes a lot of effort to build community, right? I mean, all of you got out of bed this morning and came here. That took effort, right? It took effort for me. So, like, why do you make that kind of effort, and why is it important? And so today, I want to talk about building community, and also talking about the walls that we build in our lives that kind of hem us in, and how we need to break down those walls. So much of our life is caught up in worrying about whether we're on the inside or the outside. I think in middle school and high school you think a lot about that because there are all these cliques and groups, but then you even go into the office world and there are cliques and groups. So we spend a lot of time in our lives wondering whether we're on, with the in crowd or on the inside or the outside. I know a lot about this because growing up I had to move almost every year in my childhood. That's hard. That's really hard because I just got to make friends and felt like finally I'm on the inside of the circle or whatever, only to be told. It always happened around Easter time. My parents would announce to us, oh, we have to move again. My big dream was to stay in the same school for 2 grades in a row. So I know a lot about what it means to kind of live on the outside and want to get on the inside. But all of us have experienced that in some way in our lives, right? Now this phenomena was captured, who's seen here Meet the Parents, that movie? That's a really funny movie, right? And remember, the prospective father-in-law of the girl is always talking to her boyfriend and saying, if you want to get in the inner circle of trust in our family, you have to do this, this, and this, right? So he was always talking, are you in the circle or are you out of the circle? If you don't behave, I'm going to put you out of the circle of trust. So it's a hilarious movie. But the reason that we find it funny is because on some level it resonates, right? It resonates with us, and so that humor touches our heart because it speaks to some deep, hidden inner truth in our own life, right? Because we all erect walls. And when you think about it, the walls that we erect in our own lives are somewhat of a headache for God. This is one thing I love about Reverend Moon in his teaching, because he talks about, do you understand what God's headaches are? Like, how often do we think about, like, maybe God has a headache. I want to take ibuprofen, but maybe God has to take ibuprofen. And this is by an 8-year-old little kid, and he said, I wonder sometimes if we ever give God a headache. Actually, that's a good thing to think about. I propose to you that some of the headaches that we give God are because we build walls in our lives that we hide behind, that we don't let other people into. God is our parent. And you know how it is if you're a parent and you see some kids excluded? Or if you're a kid and you feel excluded? How does that strike you? What does that do? How does it impact you? This has been a problem since the beginning of time. I want to refer you all to the Action Bible. I love the Action Bible because everything is reduced, because it's an Action Bible, to its kind of simplest point. But it's, in the simplest point, there's profound truth. So I've got a little clip from the Action Bible for you to look at. Here's Cain. He's looking at Abel. So from the beginning of the time, we've been building walls, and he goes, as long as Abel is around, he'll always be the favorite. Have you ever felt that? As long as my siblings are around, or as long as, my friends are around, or as long as, this co-worker's around, they'll always be the favorite, and I'll be kind of like, passed over, if you like. So this has been a problem since the beginning of time, and because we inherit generation to generation, guess what? That's still a problem. I see that every day. In fact, I think I've been that too. Right? We have a saying, can you imagine you're Cain and your name is synonymous with anger and resentment? So when anyone ever said to you, are you Cained out? I'd be like, are you headed out? Are you like Heather? That'd be horrible. But the reality is that nature, or that experience, that emotional experience that Cain is feeling, is happening in our lives too. And it's not just like way back at the beginning of time, but it also, if you fast forward a little bit, say to the time of Jesus, you will see this same kind of thing operating. You know, there's this, I think I've referenced this before, but there's this incredible part in the Bible, in Mark, and it says, James and John, the two sons of Zebedee. Now these are like disciples of Jesus. So actually, in one sense, they're on the in crowd. But you know what? The in crowd is never enough for you. You want to get in the in crowd. So James and John says to Jesus, Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. That's pretty bold. Like, hey Jesus, like, can you do what we want? A little bit of attitude there. And he said to them, well, what do you want me to do for you? And they said to him, grant that we may sit one on your right and one on your left in your glory. They want to be on the in, right? The trouble with, you know, being in the circle is, it's like an onion. You get to a certain level and you go, no, I want to be on the in of the in. Because, you know, these disciples, they were on the inside, right? They were in the circle of trust that Jesus built. But that wasn't enough. Because you know what? They were jealous. And so they said, well, we want to be one on your right and one on your left. But Jesus said to them, and this is really amazing, he said, do you know what you're asking? Because they just said casually, we want to be close to you, we want to be the most important people in the group, you know. He says, do you know what you're asking? Are you able to drink the cup that I drink? Or to be baptized with the baptism with which I am baptized? In other words, he's saying, you can sit right next to me, but hey, are you ready to work that hard? Are you ready to love that much? Are you ready to be that inclusive? Because guess what? I represent the Father's heart here on earth. I love everybody. Can you love everybody? Can you let everybody into your circle like I do? Or are you going to be prejudiced? Are you going to dismiss some people because you don't like them? That's profound. Jesus said, sure, you can sit there, but can you live like I live? Right. So we see this all the time around us. You know, we want to be on the end, but it's like the onion, you have to peel and peel and peel. And guess what? You're never satisfied. Do you know why you're never satisfied? Because your motivation to be on the in crowd is wrong. Your motivation is for yourself. It's you want to feel important. But where do you get your value from? You know, you get your value from knowing who you are as the son or daughter of God. Because when you have that confidence, and someone says, you're not in our group, do you care? No. You don't care because you know who you are. And you can be on the inside or the outside, it really doesn't matter. So many times we want to be in the inner circle, just like those two disciples of Jesus, because actually they didn't have confidence about who they were. And they thought they would get importance by sitting on the right or the left-hand side of God. Now we see this same thing happening later on in Matthew 15:2-28. And this is a story about a woman from the districts of Tyre and Sidon, or Sidon, I don't know how it's pronounced, I should find out. Anyway, bottom line, she was a Canaanite woman. So that means that she's not part of the people of Israel. So she goes to Jesus and she wants to have healing for her daughter who is demon-possessed. I think, you know, some of the parents in the room might feel at some point or other their child was demon-possessed, right? And there was no Jesus to take people to, you know. So I just want to read you the story, and I want us to think about this story and what it's saying to us. It says, Jesus went away from there and withdrew into the district of Tyre and Sidon. And a Canaanite woman from that region came out and began to cry to him, saying, have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David, my daughter is cruelly demon-possessed. Now notice how she talks about Jesus. She says, Lord, Son of David. But she's from Canaan. But guess what? She knows he's a Jew, and that's important to the Jews, that she identify him as Lord, Son of David. So she's humbling herself. She's saying, I know that's important to you, so she addresses him like that. She comes with humility. But he didn't answer her a word. And his disciples came, guess what the disciples were saying? Imploring him, send her away because she keeps shouting at us. So, you know, here's this woman coming for help, but the disciples who are from the people of Israel somehow feel like, well, we're better than them. She's not only a Canaanite, she's a woman. We actually don't have to listen to her. So, she implores Jesus, send her away. Now Jesus, you have to remember, Jesus is a teacher. So he's always observing. He's always looking at what's happening. How's this person reacting? How's that person reacting? Because guess what? He wants to help everybody. He's trying to raise them up to be who they can be as God's sons and daughters. So Jesus answered and said, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Whoa, what is Jesus saying? He's saying, actually, I'd love to help you, but I came for the people of Israel. And at that moment, probably all the disciples are going like, yes, because they don't respect this woman from this other group. But maybe Jesus is testing her. This is amazing. Do you know what that Canaanite woman does? She comes back at him. That's like the Pope. You meet the Pope and you say, Pope, can you help me? And the Pope says, well, you're not Catholic, But this woman has a deep inner confidence. And she says, she came and bowed down before him saying, Lord, help me. And he answered and said, he said, this is Jesus, it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. Ouch. Whoa, that's intense. What the heck? People, they have these kind of images of Jesus and kind and flying robes. That's pretty harsh what he said. But there's a lesson in here. Then the woman has the self-confidence and the desperation to come back at him. And I know how she feels because I worked in a non-profit where for many years we helped people with disabilities, children, and we did parent education for those parents so they could become advocates for their child in the school system. I have never been more moved to tears than in those workshops because those parents, they wouldn't let anything get in their way of getting the best for their child. There is nothing more fearful than a mother who's angry because they would fight for that child. And this woman, this Canaanite woman, is just like that. She's going to fight for her child. And she said, in answer to basically, with the dogs, right? She says, excuse me, yes, Lord. Now she's coming back at him. Would you have the confidence to come back? But even the dogs feed on the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Please just give me a little bit. Give me a little bit of grace. Give me a little bit of healing. Don't I deserve that? Please, Lord. That's powerful. Then Jesus said to her, Woman, your faith is great. It shall be done for you as you wish. And her daughter was healed at once.